Okay. Today we cover, or this week we cover 1.4 and 2.1. Um, so the homework is on my math lab. Friday will be a group assignment. If you were not in class last Friday, you can still do the group assignment. Um, you don't have a group. So the groups are only for those who are in class. But if you're not in class, you can still do the assignment and turn it in for full credit. You just lose the attendance point. Any questions? So today we'll cover 1.4. 1.4 deals with equations of the line, and there's three forms that you can put an equation of the line. The first one I have listed is slope-intercept form.
We can't see your work. I mean,
Hmm. Thank you. I forgot to share. There we go. Sorry about that. I teach classes at Youngstown State and they're in person, and today was their first day, so I was running from my class. Okay, 1.4. The first three are types of lines. Slope-intercept form is the first one. And we worked with this one some already. Y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. Usually when we write things, we put it in this form. You also see standard form, but that's usually the way you write things in a book. When you want to use them, having it in this form is easier. Usually we use a function. So this is our f of x, r of x, c of x. So slope-intercept form, everything is completely reduced. Everyone's will look the same. The second one is point slope form. Notice the first one, slope intercept, and it has the slope and the intercept. Point slope is the equation. If you have a point and a slope, you can put it in this form. And it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And parentheses don't have to be on this one. So you have a point, x1 and y1, and you have a slope. Hence point slope form. The last one's called standard form. Normally, you shouldn't have any fractions, but books are allowing it now. But normally, standard form is no fractions. But since your book's allowing it, fractions are okay. But your x term goes first, and then your y term, and then the constant is by itself. So you have your x term, your y term, and your constant. Let's try some problems using them. Write the given information, with the given information, find the equation of the line and slope. I asked for slope-intercept form. I almost always ask for slope-intercept form. Now, depending on your information, sometimes we can plug right into this. In this case, we were given the slope was 2/3, and the y-intercept is -3. The y-intercept is the same as b, so we were given both values. We can just plug them in. It's just making sure you understand where the slope and the y-intercept go. Any questions on that one? The second one, notice they gave us a point and the slope. They gave us 5, 2, our point, and they gave us a slope 3/5. Well, then we want to use our point slope form because we have a point and a slope. This is x1 and y1. Plugging it in. Well, I'm going to write the formula first. We're only plugging in the x1 and the y1 and the m. You leave this x and y alone. Y minus 2 equals 3/5 times x minus 5. Depends on what they're asking. I asked for slope-intercept, which means you want to solve for y. So we first need to distribute this 3/5, and then we'll have to add the 2 to the other side. Distributing 3/5 times x is 3/5 x. When we take 3/5 times a -5, positive times negative is a negative. When we multiply by the 3/5, notice the 5's cancel and just leave a 3. Let me put the negative in there so we have it, but it's a -3. And then we add the 2 to the other side. Now, depending on what you were asked, if you were just asked to write an equation of the line, then you could have given either one. But if it asks for slope-intercept, then you need to solve for y. Any questions on that one? Find the equation line through the point 2, 6 and 3, 2. Well, this time they didn't give us a slope. They only gave us 2 points. In order to write the equation of a line, you need a slope. But if they give us 2 points, remember last class, we learned the slope was y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Or the order you put it in, remember, doesn't matter as long as top and bottom is the same. So either way, same thing. Three minus 2 over 2 minus 3 is 1 over a -1. Our slope is a -1. Wait, I wrote that wrong. I said 6, but I wrote 3. I think I started looking at the next point. Sorry about that. This should have been a 6. So 6 minus 2 over 2 minus 3 gives us 4 over a -1 or a -4 for the slope. Now we have the slope. You can use either one of the 2 points. I usually choose ones, if there's negatives, I would choose the positives. One smaller than the other, I would choose that. You can use either one. I'm going to use 3, 2. You could do it with 2, 6, and we'll find that we get the same answer in the end. So now we have a point and a slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you do want to make sure you want to memorize these equations. If you write the formulas every time, you'll have them memorized. Y minus 2 equals a -4 times x minus 3. We want it in slope-intercept form, so we have to solve for y. Distribute the -4. -4 times 3 is a -4x. -4 times a -3 is a +12. And then we're going to add the 2 to the other side. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's try number 4. What are we getting for the slope? We're getting undefined. Remember, that's a special case. Undefined, that would be the Vux from Hoy-Vux. Undefined is x equals a number. And notice the x's repeat. So the equation is just x equals 2. So on these special cases, finding the equation is a lot quicker. Number 5 looks like it's the same thing, because one way you can tell, notice that the x's are repeating. Since the x's are repeating, you're going to get 0 in the denominator again. So it's undefined. Any questions on that? Equation with the x-intercept -2 and y-intercept 6. And what you want, and I'll always have you write it as a point so that you remember this, but sometimes the questions, the book's not putting points, but then for answers it wants them. I'm not sure. But x-intercept is when y is 0. And the y-intercept is when x is 0. So the x-intercept and the y-intercept we can write as points, so then we can find the slope. So notice they keep adding parts to make sure you understand everything as it goes together. -2. Find the slope. 0 minus 6 over -2 minus 0. -6 over -2 is a +3 for our slope. So now we have slope in either one of the 2 points. Now there's a little shortcut here, especially if you have fractions. Notice they're giving us the y-intercept. This is our b. And this is m. We don't have to use y minus y1. We could use y equals mx plus b. So that y equals 3x plus 6. Now if you use y minus y1, you'll get the same answer. And either one of the 2 points. I'm going to use this point. I would have y minus 0 equals, my slope is 3 times x minus a -2. So if I use this point for x1 and y1, I would get this. Negative and negative is a positive. So when I distribute, I get 3x plus 6 equals y. Same answer. Likewise, if we use this point, y minus 6 equals 3 times x minus 0. So this y minus 6 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 0 is 0, so it drops out. And then add the 6 to the other side. So any one of the 3 ways, whatever your thought process is, it's going to lead you to the same answer as long as you follow your rules. Any questions on that? Now, of course, you only have to do one way, whichever way you're comfortable with. Any questions? And same thing with these, they want us to look at the graph and write the equation a line. Notice this one, they gave us 2 points, so we need to find the slope. You can use the formula for the slope, or when it's on a graph, you can count it. You start with your leftmost point, and notice we have to go down 1, 2, 3. So down 3 means -3, and then run over 1, 2, 3, 4. So we went down 3 and over a positive 4. That means the slope is a negative 3/4. You can use the points and plug them in. Seven minus 4 over 0 minus 4 is 3 over a negative 4. So either way, we're getting the negative 3/4. Whether you plug in the point or when you have a graph if you count it. Another thing that's nice, notice this is the y-intercept. So we already have B and we found M. We can just plug it in. Negative 3/4 x plus 7. Or you can do it like one of these using whichever point you want. Any questions on that one? So if they give you the y-intercept as one of your points, you can use this for your shortcut. Any questions on that one? This one's a special case, horizontal line. So we have Hoy Vux. This one is a horizontal line, so it uses this. It's a horizontal line, the slope is 0, the equation is y equals whatever the y value is, and in this case it's a negative 4. So it was a horizontal line. I know a horizontal line, the equation is y equals a number. And then if you look where it's crossing the y-axis, it's at negative 4, always negative 4. So y equals negative 4. Any questions on that? C is a vertical line. A vertical line uses this one. Vertical line is slope is undefined and it's x equals a number. And if we look at the line, x is always 6. Any questions? These would be your two special cases. Notice they're always popping up. That means they're going to pop up on a test. Any questions on that? Maybe I can fit the whole problem. Number 8. A company charting its profits notices that the relationship between the number of units sold, X, and profit P is linear. That means y equals mx plus b form. It can be a straight line. 300 units sold results in 4650. So 300 units, because that's the x, is a profit of 4650, and 375 has a profit of 9,000. Now we did this problem earlier, I think it was last class, we found the slope. Now they want to take it a step further. So first it's asking, find the rate of change of the profit. Rate of change of the profit is the same as marginal profit when it's linear, and slope. These three things all mean the same thing, as long as it's linear. So if it asks for a rate of change of profit, it wants you to find the slope. $9,000 minus $46.50 over $375 minus $300. So the rate of change of the profit, or the marginal profit, is 58. What the rate of change or marginal profit or slope tells you is as your X value, which is our units sold. So each additional unit sold increases profit by $58. So if you had all your salesmen in a meeting and you're talking to them and you're like, well, I know you hit this number, but each time you sell one more unit, we get another $58. So then you tell them, if between all of you, you can sell 20 more units, Friday we'll have a pizza party. Because you know how much money's coming in. If you're only going to spend $100 on pizza and you're getting them to sell 20 more units, you know how much is the profit and that you're still coming out ahead. So your slope tells you as you change X by 1, how much Y changes. Find the profit function. Well, we have our slope. We could take either one of the 2 points. I would take the smaller number. And we plug it in. We have point slope, so we use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then you plug those in and you have your equation. Is there any questions? I mean, we're still going to finish it, but is there any questions so far? Plugging it in, y minus, this would be x1 and y1. M is 58 times x minus x1, which was 300. Distribute your slope. We're going to add the 4650 to the other side. If I can write it. Any questions on that? So this would be your profit function. When you're given an equation, if you asked to explain the slope and the y-intercept, the slope we explained right here. explaining the y-intercept, which is 0, -12, 12,750. What this is saying is if no units are sold, you're in the hole $12,750, or you owe $12,750. So it's telling you when X is 0. In that case, that's our unit sold. So you actually owe money, you have no profit yet. Any questions on that? Now you can use slope y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2 when you're finding the rate of change of a function, but sometimes you will also, and it's kind of getting you ready for derivatives, you'll have f of b minus f of a over b minus a. Remember, f of b is y, and so is f of a. So it's the rate of change of the function as you're going from a to b. If we look at number 9, for the function, and notice they don't have to be linear. This one is not linear. Compute the average rate of change from x equals 9 to x equals 16. So this would be my A, and this would be B. We want f of 16 minus f of 9 over 16 minus 9. Now, depending on what these values are, we could, off to the side, if it's a long equation, find f of 16. That's just the square root of 16, which is 4. And then we can find f of 9, which is just the square root of 9, or 3. Notice that's your y values. We have 4 minus 3 over 16 minus 9, which is 1 over 7, or 1/7. So the rate of change is 1/7. As y goes up by 1, x goes over by 7. Any questions on that? When a car is bought, its value is $25,000. When you're talking about the starting time, that's your y-intercept. So if its original value is 25,000, that's a times 0. And then if it depreciates by 1,000 each year, that's telling you rate of change. It's dropping by $1,000 every year. So if X is years, my slope is 1,000. And it would be a negative because it's dropping. So each year, my slope drops by 1,000. Or my car depreciates by 1,000. So it's negative because it's depreciating. And it's each year, so that's what X is. Any questions on that? That means our rate of change is a negative 1,000 because every year it drops by 1,000. That's your rate of change, your slope. To write the equation of the line, oh, notice this is a y-intercept and this is the slope. My slope's a negative 1,000. My y-intercept's 25,000. You could use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and you'll get the same answer. Any questions? What is the value of the car in 5 years? Well, x is the number of years, so in 5 years, we'd plug it in here. So if we plug that in, we'll get 20,000. So the value of the car in 5 years is $20,000. Any questions on that? Any questions on anything? Positive. Okay. So those who came in after I said it, the group assignment, if you haven't done it, you still can do it. And make sure not all of them got turned in. So double check. I know there's people who are there because I put what groups were together, but you do need to turn it in individually. And so maybe that's why it didn't get turned in. But if you didn't get it turned in, you can still turn it in. If you were not here, then you'll turn it in individually, which is fine. Any questions on that? I don't think there was anything else. So the MyLabs homework should be up there. Any questions on anything? Positive. I thought there would be more questions at the beginning, so I ran out of stuff. Any questions? I don't think they come up this time. I didn't see any. But if they do, if you have to find a profit function and you're given revenue and cost, to find profit, you just subtract. It's revenue minus cost. So this formula is one you want to know. I don't know if it's the next section, but I know it's chapter 2. Is there any questions on anything? Positive. Okay. Then I will let you go so you could start working on your homework. You got, I don't know, 9 minutes. You could get a couple problems done. And I will see you on Wednesday. Bye. Thanks for coming.